Hello, everyone. Welcome to Secure IT, where we discuss all things cybersecurity, people, trends, and products. Thank you for joining us on this continuing journey. Um, it's almost the end of the year, and we've been going strong. So, a quick thank you to all our supporters. As you probably know from these podcasts, I'm a strong proponent of communication. Have led, grown, and sold a mid-sized cybersecurity consultancy, and there's probably not a day that goes by without some conversation about data management and digital security. Put all this together, and it is as if the universe was listening when our guest actually appeared on our radar. CEO of an MSSP, author of the CEO's Digital Survival Guide, visionary, innovator, thought leader, trusted advisor, and mentor. And I promise our listeners we're going to deep dive into each one of those labels. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Nathan Whittacre.
Oh, thanks, Philip, for having me today.
It's a pleasure. Hopefully, we're going to discuss have some really fun conversations. So sorry, Nathan. As we usually start, we talk about career moves. Um, our audience is generally professionals who are CIOs, CTOs, CISOs, and the other half are either students or someone eager to make the move into cybersecurity, this being a cybersecurity podcast. Um, However, you have a very interesting story, and we thought you'd be a great fit here. So, if we were to narrow down to two or three major career moves that got you here, what I'm trying to get to is your origin story. And if you don't mind, a little cherry on the sundae would be what you would consider your superpower. So let's start, with three milestone moves that got you here.
I've actually one of the founders of Stimulus Technologies. We started the company in 1995. So I've been in the industry for a long time. It was my brother, my dad, and myself that started the company in my brother's garage. My dad since retired, and my brother separated from our company to do software development almost 20 years ago. So I've been the sole leader of Stimulus Technologies for about 22 years. Obviously, in nearly 30 years, the industry's changed dramatically. When we started the company, we were a break fix IT shop. We would build computers, service machines for other small businesses, small networks. We were running Windows 3.1 and DOS 6.2.2 was our the original operating system, and then Windows 95 came out, NT, and we've seen just the generations over the years. Um, we embraced Linux early on and helped a lot of our clients and a lot of our infrastructure to implement Linux systems. Most of our customers have moved on and focused on Windows environments, Microsoft environments, and then seeing the cloud come along, cloud environments, Microsoft 365. There's just been some major shifts in the industry. So I wouldn't say it's my career that's changed. It's really the industry that I've seen dramatically change over 30 years of being in it. You know the the need for cybersecurity has grown exponentially over the last 20 or so years, and the demands on organizations have been dramatic. Especially, you look at each iteration, of different types of events and attacks and attack vectors and things that have happened over the years. Especially dealing with small to mid-sized businesses, lower middle market companies. It's just a it it's just changed dramatically over the years. So I wouldn't say it's been my career that's changed, but the whole industry, and my focus has been on helping other businesses succeed in this changing environment, both on the information technology side, implementing the right solutions, and then adding in the cybersecurity side over the last 15 years has been essential.
So you're right. Your degrees are in computer science, and geographically, if I remember uh, reading the collateral, and it was a lot that they gave me just before the podcast. You geographically made a move from, was it Ohio to Las Vegas? Um,
So so based in Las Vegas, our headquarters are
oh,
Las Vegas, but we've expanded, regionally, and then we have an office in Missouri, so pretty close to Ohio.
got it.
So we span from Southern California, most of the Western states, and then into the Midwest in Ohio. So, sorry, Missouri.
Missouri. It's contagious, Nathan.
Yes.
Um, so and while you say that you've stayed true in terms of career, let's start with computer science degrees, business, family business in IT. You rattled off quite a few names and brought back some memories here from Windows 3.1 to Windows NT, and you might as well throw in, token ring networks as well, and trying to find which one wasn't attached properly that brought the entire network down. Fun times, and then
Yeah.
dealing in SIMs and RAMs and whatever else the shortage of the day was, and a transition into cybersecurity. So with your clientele, and Las Vegas has quite the interesting landscape from these giant organizations that house casinos and tens of thousands of endpoints, um, to the support system that could be small businesses. You probably see it all. How did your business evolve in terms of risk mitigation, cybersecurity, and general customer base?
So our customer base, I'll start with that. It's we have an extensive marketing system to focus on, specific target client profiles, and most of our clients are, I call it lower middle market or small to mid-sized businesses. Call it, 10 to 100 employees is a range, although we have some clients that are larger than that we consult with. But it's the bread and butter of businesses in the US. 60% of all businesses are this lower small business size. So that's been our focus over the years, and it's almost a lost area. There's a lot of these companies have, either using friends and family to offer support, or maybe they have an office manager or somebody internally that's tried to, um, you know, do IT support or implement IT technologies. And usually what happens is they have some type of event that occurs. It could be a cyber event, they ransomware or some other type of, cybersecurity event that occurs, and they realize that they need support, or they buy a line of business application that they can't figure out how to implement properly inside the organization. So they reach out for support on the outside, and that's where we come in to provide that expertise to help them run their IT operations efficiently. And we take them on a journey. Usually if they don't have, technologies implemented properly, we walk them through a journey of, this is where you're at, and this is where we're trying to get them to, the implementing the right technologies, the right processes, procedures, uh, bringing in the right tools internally to manage their networks. And then we talk about business processes too, and matching where the business leaders, where the owners often or the organization want to take their companies, and making sure that it matches with the technology that they're implementing. So that's been our journey over the years, and we've helped probably about 800 companies over
Oh,
the years of implement and go on that journey.
right, right. So 35 years in business at least, and you've probably seen it all. What would you consider your superpower, Nathan?
I As you mentioned a lot of times, or a couple of times, that my degree is in computer science, bachelor's and master's degree. I come from the tech side, but my superpower is bridging that gap of being able to translate business needs, business ideas, and strategies, and come up with the right technology solutions to make those work.
Solving world problems with technology. Love it. Let's move on and let's get to the meat of this discussion. So, for me, of course, it's cybersecurity, and I'll come shortly to your list. But you have seen things that, in terms of trends, uh, whether it's on the West or Midwest with customers, on probably your book circuit. So, there's AI. There's governance, regulation, and compliance that's now taking a lead. Uh, this wasn't the case maybe 10 years ago. Today, there's NIST and there's Zero Trust, and there's all these frameworks in terms of privacy policies that businesses have to adhere to. And of course, there's the ongoing cybersecurity needs that you have to address for businesses. What are some key strategies for business leaders who are looking to integrate new technologies into their operations, of course, without causing major disruption? So, there's a sense of complacency if it ain't broke, right? And there goes another old adage: you got to fix it. You got to keep fixing it because technically, it's broke, right? Because every day, new threats, new things. We've got to keep updating. So the question for you, um, again, is some advice for business leaders looking to keep up with things at the same time not disrupting business.
I think one of the things that I've seen, especially in the lower middle market companies, is they look at technology as kind of an ancillary thing to their business. And what I preach to business leaders is it's essential for them to create a culture inside their companies of technological innovation, that technology is not just this ancillary item that they have to do. It's something that is the lifeblood of businesses today. If you look at just a quick example, these CDK Global, which operates car dealerships or software for car dealerships, went down, and 15,000 car dealerships couldn't service a vehicle, couldn't sell a vehicle, couldn't even talk to their customers because they didn't know who they were for almost a month. And it just brought this to a forefront of these companies, how essential technology is to their operations, that most businesses couldn't operate today without technology. And so the business leaders need to, from the top down, understand that technology is essential to all operations of the company. It's not just, this piece of software we buy, or, this monthly expense. It is really the driver of the advancement of every company. And you see this with all technologies that come out. There was an interesting graph that I saw recently. You mentioned AI, that uh, every technology that comes out is an accelerator of GDP. So the more that we implement the latest technologies, the more that our GDP as a country and as a world increases, because it is
That's
an
that's an
accelerator.
interesting comment. Yeah, accelerator or a magnifier in orders of magnitude. It's not linear in terms of new technologies like AI or soon quantum computing. So that's an interesting comment. Please continue.
And I think, each one of them is accelerator. If you think of the exponential curve, it goes up faster and faster. And I think, AI, quantum computing, like you just mentioned, are going to even accelerate it faster.
Yeah.
And so this concern, I think a lot of people have about new technologies coming in being more expensive or disruptor of businesses. Yeah, it disrupts business, but it's disruptive in a good way, and it's essential for companies to embrace these new technologies, to be on the forefront and leaders in the technology innovation. Those that are laggards are going to be left behind and go out of business.
Okay,
And
so I'm going to push that thought process a little bit, right?
Mhm.
We're talking graphs, and we've all seen the early adopters versus, the bell curve of the people who are, in the middle and who wait, the Mercedes-Benz owners, right? They're the ones who wait to make sure that the cup holder has been designed right and won't spill their coffee.
Yeah.
Uh, and then there are the laggards who say, who kind of sort of the baby boomers, Nathan. These are the guys who are of the philosophy that it ain't broke. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that thinking now, as new generations coming in, and I hate to generalize here, but I'm now asking on behalf of my business owner who says, look, AI. Everyone's talking about it in my peer group, at dinner with the family. Is there a fear of me missing out? Yes, I want to grow my small business. What do I do? How do I implement without disrupting?
I think one of the issues that business leaders are always scared of is they've had experiences of buying a technology to solve a problem that they don't know about. And so developing a strategy where you identify an area of your business that can use technology to improve it. You know you have a specific problem you want to solve for, and what's the right technology to solve for that. I think with AI, we have to look at it as a accelerator of productivity. And there's a lot of things right now that can't repetitive tasks that can be automated. If you think about in your office environment, which is where I think AI can be very lucrative today, uh, is automating tasks that people have to do over and over again. Your administrators, your accountants, your marketing people, your salespeople, whatever it may be, and use automation through AI to take a look at what they're doing repetitively and improve it. That's what we've been talking to our customers about is, how do you leverage secure AI, things like Microsoft Copilot that live in, your Azure environment, so that's secure to the company. That's just one example, and leverage that technology to accelerate what people are already doing. So that's the way I look at it is you got to identify a problem first, not just buy a solution. And then once you do that, you can accelerate. I think what business leaders need to be aware of though is you probably have people that are implementing it. And if you're not giving direction, the company may be taken the wrong way or people are going to do the wrong thing. So whether the leaders of the organization want to or not, AI is getting implemented inside your organization. People are using ChatGPT for free, and do you really want your data out there on the internet? In a free public, uh, and driving the latest learning models, like language models. So I think
That's
it's
a conversation we often have, right? Look, if
yeah,
you're not using AI, your employees are,
yeah.
right? That's true. So let's light this conversation on fire. Let's talk about something that you're passionate about. The book over your right shoulder, the CEO's Digital Survival Guide. Talk to me, Nathan.
Sure. So I wrote the book with this idea in mind that business leaders struggle communicating with technology people. And that's really, a business owner gets overwhelmed. We often use lots of acronyms. You talk to a tech guy about AI, they're going to start throwing LLM and lots of acronyms that don't make any sense. And so when I wrote the CEO's Digital Survival Guide, it was focused around helping business leaders understand how to communicate with technologists and really the right technology to implement inside their businesses. Um, I share stories that are relatable in the book that everybody can understand, and use those tools. There's also an assessment in the book to see where your business is at, whether you're a one person business or 1,000 person business. This assessment starts the conversation of where your technology is at inside your company and where it needs to go.
I'm going to challenge that. Shouldn't it be the other way around? Shouldn't the technologist need to communicate with the business owner?
Yes, yes, I don't disagree with that. I think as us as technologists, we have to be able to translate it. But I I feel, and potentially I'm wrong on this feeling, that every business leader should have some expertise in all areas of their business.
Unfortunately true. Yes, you're
Yeah,
right.
so, they should be able to have a good conversation with their CFO on financials and understand what a profit and loss statement, a cash flow, a balance sheet, how to do at least how to read a performa, things like that. I think it's the same way in operations. They should know their industry really well and be able to walk out on a factory floor or talk to one of their accountants or whatever it may be and understand what that process looks like. Maybe they're not the ones, doing the work, but they need to understand what that work is. And I think it's the same thing on technology, that because it's the lifeblood of companies, a business leader should have at least a good, I'll call it a 5,000 or maybe a 10,000 foot insight into what's going on. It shouldn't be down in the weeds, but it should
Yeah.
be low enough that they can spot issues and give the proper direction.
I like this. I like where this conversation's going, and I'm going to throw a few tenants at you in terms of business. So there's the entrepreneurial myth, this great book that's written about Susan who bakes cakes and says, hey, look, stay true to your goal. Bake cakes, right? Because you bake cakes really well. Suddenly you start a business and suddenly you're distracted by payroll and accounting and everything else, and you're not doing what you're passionate about, which is baking cakes. And so the idea is center yourself as business owners, whether it's your favorite taco stand, or reselling books or baking cakes. Stay true to that. Surround yourself by subject matter experts. I have learned in 30 odd years of um, business strategy that, and I've seen firsthand, Nathan, that businesses that fail usually fail because the business owner doesn't understand the numbers, or, and I'm not asking that all business owners understand numbers, have a strong second number two who gets the numbers and who can translate to your point, right? Surround yourself by people smarter than you. So one of each in terms of, like you said, CFO, strong CFO, strong CTO, strong COO. And the last tenet is that intrinsically, this is my favorite scene from Star Wars with Luke Skywalker and the X-wing as he's trying to blow up the Death Star, and the Force says, "Switch everything off. You've learned everything you need to learn. You've read all your books. Now go on intuition." Right? And so you put all this together, and generally, business owners who are following their passion, who are surrounded by subject matter experts, are able to direct and lead intuitively. And to your point, the digital survival guide will empower the business owner to have these conversations in this on this new digital frontier. Is that a fair summation?
That's a perfect summation. I should
Good.
post that and use that in the future. So,
Okay, I'm glad I was of use. Let's talk about the data management piece of your book. So you refer to both digital survival and digital strategy and data management. And I picked up on the data management piece only because AI is hungry for data, and our data needs are growing exponentially. And so comment on the trends that you're seeing.
I think that when we're talking about small business, and as we're guiding our customers on the path of implementing AI technologies, as you said, data is key. And the question is your data organized and it is secure? And what we see a lot in small businesses is the data is spread out, different people inside the organization. Um, are organizing data differently. They may be in different systems. You might have a CRM where your marketing data is. You might have some type of other, sales automation system. You might have, different data set for your operations. And that's one of the biggest struggles because AI, has to get access to all that data to be able to be useful across the organization. And it needs to consume it securely. So that those are some of the projects we're working with on, with companies of figuring out how to manage those together and get all the data in one place that AI can use it. And I keep bringing that securely up because that is the biggest concern I think a lot of leaders have is AI going to use our data to train its models, and could our data get out? And so any AI's implementation that companies are doing today need to look at the the data security that the AI provider is going to provide for that organization. So ensure, that those are questions that need to be asked. Are they, SOC 2 compliant? Are they adhering by these data standards that the industry set out? And are they going to protect the data that you're providing it? And is it only going to be trained inside your organization, or is it going to use your data to train its model for the future? So there's some cool tools out there. I mean, there's basic tools like Zapier that allow some integrations between systems, which is interesting, and then there's more complex environments. I mentioned Microsoft Copilot. I like what they're doing, just because each instance is its secure model, and it's not allowing the data to be used elsewhere to train other models. So, I mean, these are just questions you have to ask: is whatever you're implementing, how is it going to keep your data secure, and can it get access to everything it needs to to be useful?
And what trends are you seeing? So fair assessment in terms of security and dedupe and data organization and access and IAM and all those good things. What are you seeing in terms of just sheer data growth, those businesses that you work with and the volumes of data that they're handling?
I mean, again, we're working with mostly small businesses, and we do see an exponential growth in data amounts. Especially looking at video creation and content creation, that most small businesses weren't doing a lot of this data production as they have now, and then AI can just generate so much more of it so quickly. So we are seeing a growth. Luckily, I think especially those that are using cloud services, the ability to store data in cloud environments, whether it's AWS or Azure, has increased a lot, and so I think it's an easy answer. It Data is growing exponentially just because there's just so much more of it available,
Right.
and it's easy to produce content now, whether it's CRM data for your client information, gathering that easily, all the way down to operations. There's just a lot that you can generate and get access to.
Cool. So again, as I peer over your shoulder, I see a bunch of medals hanging on the left shoulder this time. So I want to ask, hobbies, passion projects, what do you got?
Sure. A couple of things. The medals, I got into endurance sports about 12 years ago. So I run marathons, triathlons, Ironman. So actually, this weekend I'm doing an Ironman race, and it just keeps me sane. It just balances out
Impressive.
all the demands. And then on the other side, I'm a private pilot, so I enjoy
Wow.
flying, and that's what that is next to the book, is
Nice.
one of the planes I fly. So I helped found a flying club, and that's a hobby of mine, to help other people learn how to fly, and get active in that. And I have 5 kids that keep me busy when I'm not doing sports, and still 3 at home. So very,
Wow.
very busy all the time. It's
Impressive.
fun.
So, endurance sports, you screw up in the desert and that's it, right? Because you're in Las Vegas and there's
Yes.
and that goes for work too, right? If you pick the wrong client in Las Vegas and you screw up, you still end up in the
Gamble. Yeah.
I'm joking.
Well,
uh,
they did find bodies in barrels in Lake
oh,
Mead out
oh,
here when the lake went down. So I'm sure there's a mafia connection there somewhere still.
I'm sure there is, but fingers crossed we stay clear of that. So, cool. Flying kids and endurance, very impressive. Best investment you've ever made, and it could be in my case, my first investment was a $3 that I had to spend on a laundry basket when I first came to this country. But it could be anything. It doesn't have to be stocks, or could be a great book or an exercise bike or something fun.
Yeah, I think my best investment was signing up for my first triathlon. Um,
Nice.
I was having some health issues, even in my 30s, and I had a friend of mine that convinced me to change my lifestyle. Lost a bunch of weight, got involved in endurance sports. So best investment was in myself with getting into sports, and it's given me energy to be able to do everything else I have to do. So it's been the best thing for me.
Amen, Nathan. Now, if you had a billboard, what would it say?
If I had a billboard, that's an interesting question.
A
That's
motto
a
you live by, or a saying you like, or something that
y-
stuck with you, and it could be the phrase of the day.
yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of things. So I think some of the best advice in business. I mean, the thing that came to mind because this question, there's lots of things came to mind, but I think I really like Simon Sinek's phrase that made him very famous, which is start with a why. I think each one of us has to have a why that drives us. And I think we have to have a why in different areas of our life, whether it's our personal life, our mental health, our physical health, whatever, and our business life. We have to have a why of the reasons we do things, and that allows us to continue on. So remembering that why, even in the tough times, because we all have difficult times, we have to stay resilient, and focusing on the purpose behind it is essential.
Awesome. So rapid fire. You can say yes, no, pass, or the first name that comes to your mind. Okay. So let's talk religion.
I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, better known as the Mormons.
Very nice. Politics.
Conservative.
Very okay. Good. Books.
I read a lot. So you can see behind me a
Yep.
bookshelf of books. So I listen a lot to Audible. So when I travel, what am I listening to now? Arnold Schwarzenegger's latest book, or his book, and the title escapes me. Be Useful, I think, is the name of the book. So I'm enjoying that right now.
So if I'm a guest in the Whittacre household, I'm visiting, and I'm sleeping over in the guest bedroom, what's a book I'll find on the coffee table? What's a book you'd recommend?
What's a book I'd recommend? So I have a lot of magazines laying around.
Mhm.
Usually they're pilot magazines, but book I'd
Because
recommend.
it's going to make me read it and run, isn't it? Okay.
I you'd find, honestly, I go back to religion, the Book of Mormon, probably. You'd stay at any Marriott hotel and pick one of those up
This
too.
is good one. I like that, Nathan. Music.
I listen to alternative rock.
Oh, impressive.
Mm.
Historical figures.
So I'll take this as a hero question or somebody I look up to.
Sure.
So my only known to my family, but my grandfather, and my mom's dad, came over from Germany right after World War II with nothing, and built a family that's done a lot of great things. So my grandfather's my hero, August Hug, and endured a lot to make a better life.
Amazing. And that's to say something about the why, right? And the purpose. It's the
Mhm.
relationships and the people that influence us and that we in turn influence. Lessons from grandma, the last one, I promise.
How to cook.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Well,
my grandparents lived with us, and my grandmother was a great baker and cook. And I love, if you stayed over with us, I'd feed you some really good food. I really enjoy cooking, and that comes from my grandmother.
good German cooking,
Hmm.
Nathan.
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
heavy, thick cooking. It's lots of meats and bread, and yeah.
Beautiful. One of my best meals was on this train ride on the Rhine. We were going for a convention, and it was pretty much a piece of bread and a cold cut, and it never tasted better. It's amazing. It's the water, it's the atmosphere, it's the surroundings, but there's something to be said about good simplistic German, hearty German meals.
Yes.
Now, my grandma, on the other hand, didn't give me that lesson, so I can barely boil water. And in her mind, it was, look, I've got the kitchen under control. I don't need you here. So I'm pretty helpless in the kitchen. But this was fun, Nathan. Thank you so much. Great book. Wish you much luck. And I'll take the liberty of putting a link to you on LinkedIn should people want to reach out either from a business point of view or career point of view. Is that okay with you?
Perfect. And if anybody connects with me and just mentions this podcast, I'd be happy to send them a copy of my book. So
Awesome.
put that out there as a favor.
Beautiful. Thank you. So, listeners, get your free signed copy. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this episode of Secure IT. Great conversation with author, thought leader, and Iron Man as I continue the cybersecurity discussion with customers, vendors, end users, and employees, helping us to learn from their insights, knowledge, and experiences. Please make sure to follow this podcast pretty much anywhere podcasts are hosted. Don't forget to DM me on LinkedIn as you usually do, or X, or with feedback, questions, comments, kudos, and complaints. Thanks again, everyone, and see you next month.